Imagine opening an atlas of the universe, one that doesn't chart lands or seas, but storms of stars, dying suns, and newborn worlds still wrapped in dust. Every page reveals something impossible. Planets that vanish mid-orbit, oceans that never end, rings too vast to last, and stars that breathe like living hearts. But somewhere inside this map, among the fog, the mirrors, and the echoes, a signal keeps appearing, a pattern that almost speaks. This isn't a story about finding life. It's a story about how we look for it, and what that search reveals about ourselves. Stay until the end, and you'll understand why every discovery, no matter how distant, is also a reflection. Why the universe, when it looks back at us, doesn't offer answers, only a question we've been asking since the first night we looked up. Imagine opening an atlas of the universe, one that doesn't chart lands or seas, but storms of stars, dying suns, and newborn worlds still wrapped in dust. Every page reveals something impossible. Planets that vanish mid-orbit, oceans that never end, rings too vast to last, and stars that breathe like living hearts. But somewhere inside this map, among the fog, the mirrors, and the echoes, a signal keeps appearing, a pattern that almost speaks. This isn't a story about finding life. It's a story about how we look for it, and what that search reveals about ourselves. Stay until the end, and you'll understand why every discovery, no matter how distant, is also a reflection. Why the universe, when it looks back at us, doesn't offer answers, only a question we've been asking since the first night we looked up. And so, the journey begins, not across oceans or continents, but through time, distance, and the silence between stars. The atlas opens to its first page, where comfort still feels possible. The search began not with wonder, but with arithmetic. A grid of numbers appeared against the dark, as if someone had tried to tame the universe with columns and ratios. They called it the Earth Similarity Index, a promise hidden in simple fractions: size, weight, warmth, and air, each value neatly compared to one familiar reference point. The planet beneath our deemed too cold or too dense, too wild to imagine life upon them. But the truth behind those decimals was less precise than the format suggested. Many of the numbers rested on guesses, softened by assumptions about clouds, winds, and light. The illusion of control was built not on certainty, but on rounding errors that made us feel safe. The film's lens drifts from blue oceans to dots of light in a black sea. Somewhere out there, a twin might circle its star with the same deliberate pace, its atmosphere humming softly, its surface sculpted by familiar seasons. Yet between thought and fact stretched a silence so vast, it swallowed meaning itself. The index could not hear winds or smell rain. It could not sense the pulse of water beneath a crust, or the breath of carbon in an unseen dawn. It could only rank, compare, reduce. In this quiet measurement lay the first deception. What began as science slowly turned into reflection, a mirror held to ourselves. For every planet assigned a score, it was not that world we learned about, but our own longing for repetition. Humanity was searching less for company and more for confirmation that its small patch of cosmos was the standard, that life elsewhere must follow the same script. Numbers replaced prayers, and spreadsheets became constellations. The scenes widen, showing graphs glowing like city grids at night. On each horizontal line, a planet stands beside its value, cold and exact. The higher the number, the more our hope flares. Somewhere near the top, Earth's name remains immovable, the perfect 1.0. Around it, others cluster like satellites of desire. Kepler, Proxima, Teegarden, all orbiting not their stars, but our expectations. There is peace in the pattern. It suggests understanding, even when it conceals ignorance. The viewer senses it, the comfort of order before the coming storm of uncertainty. Soon these columns will break. The clean design will smear into unpredictability. Twin worlds that betray their likeness. Orbs that drift without suns. Stars that burn too fast or too dim. But for camera drifted nearer, the light thickened, and the comfort of likeness began to crumble. Venus appeared not as a sister, but as a warning. Its atmosphere, once imagined mild, swelled into a suffocating ocean of gas. Clouds of sulfur rolled endlessly, their yellow depths hiding the surface beneath a ceiling of poison. Pressure there was not a whisper, but a crush, heavy enough to flatten metal and silence every dream of landing. The temperature climbed beyond what metal could bear. The air turned to acid, and the brightness that once promised warmth became an unbroken glare. The twin had the right proportions, the right rhythm around its star, even the right distance that textbooks once called the habitable zone. But the rules bent in its presence, and every neat column of the index faltered. Here, the illusion of familiarity split open. The numbers that matched Earth so proudly could not capture storms that never end, or winds that drag the sky in endless rotation. They could not weigh despair. In the thick fog of Venus, instruments found their limits. Signals blurred, measurements trembled, reflections returned false. The very thing that made the planet shine so beautifully from afar, its reflective veil, was the same shroud that mocked precision. Fog became more than weather. It became the story's first omen. It spread not only across the surface, but through the data, settling into the gaps between what could be observed and what was imagined. Scientists had once drawn diagrams, confident lines dividing habitable from not. Venus quietly erased them. It showed that likeness is a trick of distance, that resemblance fades when heat and chemistry conspire behind closed clouds. The film's gaze follows the pale swirls, watching them twist like thoughts trying to take shape. Beneath that endless cover lies a world of mountains crushed under weight and plains that glow dimly from trapped heat. Lightning flashes unseen, caught only in echoes. The air above moves faster than the ground itself, dragging storms in a direction opposite to reason. In this chaos, the idea of balance evaporates. For a moment, the viewer might sense pity, an entire planet locked behind its own reflection. The clouds keep its secrets too well. Amber. The film lingers on the haze curling around the second world, glowing softly like a wound sealed by its own heat. The narration falls silent, and the viewer is left with the uneasy knowledge that similarity can be the most deceptive comfort of all. Behind the next discovery, there may wait another twin and another lesson hidden in fog. Familiarity dissolves in fog, and the search moves on toward dimmer fires, smaller stars, and worlds that balance on the edge of survival. In the widening darkness, a red spark emerges, small, quiet, almost embarrassed to burn. Teegarden's star. It is not a sun that commands attention, but one that endures. Around it move two tiny companions, tucked close within an orbit so tight they could circle their parent in mere days. The first is shy, dim and cold, barely kissed by warmth. The second glows faintly with promise, resting in the delicate belt that calculations call the habitable zone. Yet this comfort is fragile, built on thin air and assumptions that tremble with every new flare. The star itself is restless, pulsing with sudden fits of brightness that cut across the dark like red daggers. Each eruption spits radiation far beyond what Earth's skies could bear. And yet, The little world that lingers near it continues to circle faithfully, half of its face always turned toward the light, the other forever hidden in shadow. The planet is tidally locked, its day side a blazing noon that never moves, its night side a frozen eternity. Between the two lies a twilight band, narrow and eternal, where warmth and cold might argue their way to balance. It is here, in this uncertain ring of half-light, that hope dares to breathe. If oceans stretch across this planet, they could act as peacemakers. Water might carry the sun's anger from one side to the other, smoothing the extremes, letting clouds form where they should not exist. But that same water might also betray its purpose, feeding storms that tear endlessly across the borderland between night and day. The surface, if one could touch it, might shimmer under violent auroras born from the star's magnetic fury. The air could glow green at its edges, whispering electricity instead of wind. Instruments catch the faintest rhythm from this system, a pattern in the galaxy. How they hide in the shadows, too dim to be noticed, until one stumbles upon them. Perhaps, the voice suggests, the galaxy's true archive of life does not lie among bright stars, but within these modest fires, where warmth is earned, not given. Still, the atmosphere of Teegarden's second world remains a mystery. The fog motif returns, not clouds of sulfur this time, but the fog of uncertainty. A haze born of incomplete spectra and pixel-sized shadows. The models show outlines without color, whispers without texture. Every answer arrives wrapped in maybes. As the sequence closes, the star's light flickers one last time. The screen darkens, and the imaginary signal, so close to matching the pattern the Atlas has been chasing, slips away into silence. The instruments go still, and for a breathless moment it feels as though the cosmos itself has turned its face. The little red harbor fades into the void, leaving only the thought that something, somewhere, nearly answered, and chose not to. The signal flickers and fades, but curiosity refuses to rest. The Atlas follows the pulse into stranger orbits, where stability itself begins to blur. Far from the red embers of Teegarden's star, another light begins to stutter. It is not the light of the star itself, but of a planet that cannot decide whether to be seen or not. Kepler 413b drifts through the black like a restless thought, appearing and disappearing with the slow rhythm of a heartbeat. Observers once believed its orbit steady, its passage across its star predictable, but then the pattern broke. The planet blinked away. Its path tilts and sways, as though some invisible hand nudges it every few years. The orbit precesses, a slow nodding that shifts its plane in and out of view, making the world vanish from our perspective before wandering back again. To the instruments, it looks like a cosmic shutter opening and closing, a lighthouse turning its beam somewhere else. The transit that should have arrived precisely on schedule simply never comes, and when it does return, its signal is warped, its timing uneven. Seasons there would no longer weather or uncertainty, but the illusion of shadow rings slipping over the star's surface. The planet's own orbit draws shapes that mimic fog's behavior, ephemeral, shifting, impossible to fix. To those watching, it feels as if the cosmos itself is teasing. Here one moment, gone the next, leaving only traces of what might have been. The map of known worlds updates quietly in the background, adding, then removing, as if caught in an argument with itself. For every discovery, there is a retraction, an amendment, a note that says, visibility intermittent. The atlas of the sky becomes a living document, erasing lines as quickly as it draws them. Kepler 413b turns into a metaphor for the fragile confidence of observation. It reminds the viewer that even the grand machinery of space telescopes can be fooled by angles and time. What seems like certainty is often only alignment, a brief trick of geometry mistaken for permanence. The camera drifts through a digital sea of data points, each one pulsing faintly. Among them, the planet's signal flickers like a candle in wind, never still long enough to measure fully. The scientists trace its ghost through charts and models, watching its orbit wobble like a gyroscope losing balance. Every correction brings it back into focus, but only for a moment, before it slips again into mathematical mist. The narration grows quieter, reflecting on the idea of stability itself. Nothing, it suggests, truly holds still. Not orbits, not stars, not even the definitions we build to understand them. The universe is not a clockwork of certainty, but a tide that drifts and returns at its own will. As the episode closes, the blinking fades into a steady glow. For a heartbeat, it looks as though the planet has settled, as if order has been restored. Then, without warning, the light dims once more and disappears completely. The map flickers, updates itself again, and the search moves on, aware now that even the most precise measurements can vanish into fog disguised as light. The stars blink, the maps rewrite themselves, and order falters. What comes next will show that chaos can have rhythm endlessly, folding storms upon storms. From orbit, it would appear to boil. Quartz particles within its high clouds melt into droplets, then freeze, then melt again as the giant swings through its orbit. Each pass burns and rebuilds the same scars. The world's atmosphere does not weather the storm. It is the storm. Jet streams reach such speeds that even light struggles to trace their patterns. The planet's motion becomes its heartbeat, each approach toward the star a violent pulse, each retreat a shuddering inhale of cold. Astronomers once expected climate to mark stability, the slow rhythm of seasons tied to a planet's spin or tilt. Here, climate is a clock of chaos. Every swing around the star counts another brutal cycle. The distance between summer and winter is measured not in degrees, but in destruction. The giant's orbit defines its personality, and its suffering becomes a kind of timekeeping. The film's lens watches as the world glows orange, then white. Lightning spreads across its night side like veins of molten glass. Winds drag fragments of vapor into the star's glare, where they disintegrate before the next orbit begins. There are no continents to anchor memory, no oceans to soften the blow, only clouds that forget what they were moments ago. When the planet swings outward again, it carries the scars of heat like fading bruises. For a while, the storms weaken, temperatures drop, and frost gathers in the upper atmosphere. But even in calm, it seems to tremble, aware of what is coming. Each orbit is a rehearsal for the same catastrophe. The camera zooms out, revealing the long ellipse of its path. Thin, lonely, unstable. The signal the atlas follows hums faintly in the background, a low pulse overlaid upon the planet's rhythm. For a moment, their beats align, two overlapping patterns that suggest connection. But the harmony collapses just as quickly. The source of the signal drifts once more, fading into static, unclaimed. It is not here. The narration lingers on the site of the gas giant shrinking back into darkness, half scorched, half frozen, moving toward the cold end of its orbit. Its reflection fades from the star's glare like smoke cooling to ash. Even the sense dies, the orbit cools, but the scars remain. Gravity tightens its grip, and the next chapter brings two neighbors trapped in an endless embrace. In the stillness between stars, two worlds perform a dangerous waltz. Around Kepler 3.6, they follow nearly the same path, like dancers unwilling to release each other's hands. One is dense and rocky, a swollen echo of Earth. The other is lighter, wrapped in veils of gas, a miniature Neptune tinted faint blue. Their orbits pass so closely that tides pull at each other's bones. With every near meeting, gravity grips and twists, then lets go, just enough to leave a mark. The film opens on their approach. The rocky world trembles as its surface swells beneath invisible fingers. Mountains rise, then sink again, as molten veins pulse beneath the crust. The air, if it ever existed, would smell of stone and metal. Across the void, its larger neighbor quivers, dragging clouds into long scars that circle its equator. Between them, a thin trail of dust and gas glows, like the thread of their shared fate. Each encounter brings destruction disguised as beauty. Their gravity tears at one another's atmospheres, trading particles in a slow exchange of pain. From afar, their light curves look like heartbeats skipping in sync, every pulse a near miss. Astronomers model their dance with cautious awe, knowing that the odds of two planets orbiting this close are nearly impossible. And yet, there they are, each orbit measured in weeks, each revolution a brush with ruin. The rocky over-Earth endures the worst. Tides wrench its crust until magma seeps to the surface faster than it can cool. Rivers of fire stretch across its nightside, freezing into glass, only to melt again when the next pass comes. There is no moment of peace, only trembling intervals between torment. The heat from within never fades. It simply changes form, waiting for the next pull. The larger world, cushioned by its gases, bears its wounds in atmosphere rather than rock. Storms the size of continents roar around its middle, dragging bright streaks of ammonia through darker clouds. To look upon it is to see motion without rest. Feels almost merciful. Some futures are better left unwritten. The planets continue to pass each other in silence, their scars glowing faintly as the light of their star falls across them. The camera lingers on those scars, tracing lines of frozen magma and torn cloud bands, evidence of endless renewal that never leads to healing. Each orbit resets the wound, erases recovery, starts again. The viewer begins to understand that permanence is a myth here. Nothing in the cosmos truly rests. Even balance is a temporary accident. When the sequence fades, the two worlds drift apart again, the gap between them filled with dust that once belonged to both. Their star shines calmly, unaware of the violence it hosts. The narration ends with a quiet thought. Perhaps destruction, repeated often enough, becomes its own kind of harmony. And in that fragile harmony, the universe finds a strange, fleeting grace. From collisions to creation, from ruin to symmetry, the journey widens again, revealing beauty built on impermanence. A faint ember burns in a quiet corner of the sky. A young giant, or perhaps a brown dwarf, too heavy for a planet, too light for a star. Around it unfolds something vast and improbable, a ring system so immense that Saturn's would fit inside it a dozen times over. The rings gleam in the light of a distant sun, their pale arcs stretching millions of kilometers, delicate yet monstrous, like the ribs of a sleeping god. From afar, the world looks serene. Dust and ice spiral in precise harmony, a frozen crown suspended in balance. Telescopes catch subtle shadows across the ring plane, thin gaps like scratches on glass. Each gap marks a sculptor, a forming exomoon, still gathering material from the disk, carving its path as it grows. Their orbits are faint whispers, their futures uncertain. Some will survive, others will fall back and vanish into the giant's atmosphere. Never named, never seen again. The image of it tempts belief in permanence. The symmetry is so perfect it feels deliberate, as if some patient hand shaped every curve. But patience is an illusion. Time here is brutal. The narration confesses this quietly. The ring is not eternal. What rings scatters into faint halos, turning the nearby star into a blurred lantern. The fog motif returns here, transformed into shimmering dust, a fog of ice rather than vapor. It softens the light, making it appear eternal, even as it changes moment by moment. The ring looks like an hourglass turned sideways, grains suspended between falling and floating. The young giant itself spins lazily, its surface hidden beneath thick, copper-colored clouds. Lightning blooms deep inside, too far to light the exterior. Occasionally, a flicker escapes through a break in the haze, a reminder that beneath the calm geometry, storms rage unseen. The planet's gravity tugs at the rings, warping them slightly, pulling their outer edges like threads that will one day unravel. The film lingers on the edges, where sunlight bends around the curve of the debris. The narration lowers, almost reverent, as it admits that beauty in the cosmos rarely means stability. The rings that enchant the eye are doomed from the start. The exomoons that carve them will grow heavier, their orbits stealing material until nothing remains but faint bands of dust. To witness them now is to see perfection caught in the middle of decay. The camera pulls back, showing the system as a single glowing halo suspended in space. From this distance, the motion disappears entirely. It becomes a still image of balance and grace. But the data scrolling quietly beneath betrays the truth. Velocities, impacts, trajectories, all reminders that this serenity is only a pause in a much longer story. The narrator closes the scene with a simple observation. What we call beauty might just be the universe holding its breath between destructions. The ring will fade. The moons will scatter. The fog will clear. And yet, for now, this fragile accident endures, defying time for a few cosmic heartbeats longer. But even beauty drifts apart. The fog deepens, and the atlas turns to the wanderers, worlds that belong to no one and yet persist. In the vast, neither freezing nor falling, suspended in a balance as fragile as thought itself, it is strange to think of weather in a place without a star, yet the wanderer has its own. Winds may crawl across its surface, driven not by sunlight, but by the planet's own faint breath of heat. The sky above such a world would be ink black, the horizon endless, the clouds ghostly and lit from within. It is a climate written by memory rather than light, an echo of warmth refusing to fade. Another signal appears in the data, even fainter, found not by sight but by gravity's sleight of hand. As one star passed before another, a subtle bending of light betrayed the presence of something unseen. A planet about the size of Earth, drifting freely through the void. No telescope has captured its shape. Its existence is known only by the brief distortion it caused, like a fingerprint pressed into glass. The event lasted mere hours, then vanished forever, leaving nothing but equations. From that small clue, astronomers draw a daring conclusion. Rocky exiles like this may be countless, worlds torn from their systems by gravitational quarrels, wandering cold and alone for billions of years. The galaxy could be filled with them, unseen nations of the lost, carrying remnants of atmospheres, oceans, and maybe even fossils of life that never had the chance to bloom. The film shows one drifting past a distant star field, the camera gliding beside it. Its surface is cracked and ancient, covered with frozen ridges that glitter faintly in the reflected starlight. Occasionally, a deep vent opens and exhales a plume of vapor, a sign that something beneath still moves. The fog motif returns here, delicate and slow, rising from the fissures like the last breath of a forgotten world. For a moment, the wandering planet passes through a region dense with dust. The light scatters, casting a faint halo around its dark body. To the viewer, it almost looks alive, like a heart pulsing in the black. But when the dust clears, it is alone again, dimming, cooling, carried onward by nothing but inertia and the quiet insistence of time. The atlas marks both these worlds, the glowing ember with its hidden sky, and the invisible traveler detected only by its gravitational trace. It lists across the darkness a new generation of watchers designed not for suns, but for the space between them. Dedicated microlensing scouts will patrol the void, staring at crowded starfields where gravity itself bends light like glass. Each faint distortion could mean a hidden traveler passing in front of something brighter. To see such things requires patience beyond measure. The signals are fleeting, a momentary wink in the background glow. But within those brief changes lie distances, masses, and trajectories, clues to the unbound worlds drifting unseen. Plans form like constellations drawn on paper. Fleets of small telescopes stationed at different points in orbit, measuring not the light of the stars, but the way their positions shift ever so slightly. Parallax timing, they call it. A dance of perspectives that lets observers triangulate the invisible. From two vantage points, one near Earth and one farther out, a rogue planet can be caught in the act of crossing a stellar backdrop. The difference in timing between the two views becomes its signature, revealing how far it drifts and how massive it might be. It is a strange form of cartography, mapping what refuses to stay in place. These unbound worlds have no central sun to anchor them, no orbit to define their year. Each detection is a guess at motion, a snapshot of a traveler already gone. The data builds slowly, each new find a bead on a string stretching through the Milky Way. But the string itself is unfinished, and no one can say how many beads are missing. The film shows this process in silence. Telescopes turning through the night, computers layering faint glimmers into composite frames, algorithms tracing curving light. The fog motif returns, not in weather or dust, but in the sheer volume of uncertainty. Every pixel might hide a planet. Every variation might be an illusion. Better instruments only sharpen the edges of our ignorance. The narration observes quietly that progress does not clear the fog. It simply names its shapes. As the network expands, it begins to hum with faint coordination. Distant observatories compare notes, catching the same bending of starlight hours apart. Some patterns repeat, others vanish forever. Among these signals, one curve stands out, subtle. Fireflies over a black field. The voice grows softer, thoughtful. There is something poetic about building machines to find what does not wish to be found. A net cast into infinity will always come back half empty. Yet the act of casting defines the search itself. The film ends the scene with the image of two telescopes looking at the same patch of sky from opposite sides of the planet, their perspectives joined by mathematics. Between them lies the emptiness where the rogue may have passed, a silence precise enough to measure but too brief to repeat. The signal, if it was ever real, has already moved beyond reach. The atlas marks it anyway, a ghost coordinate with no fixed star beside it. Still no certainty, only better questions. The map keeps growing, its edges curling toward light that isn't visible at all. When the new observatory opens its golden eyes, the night changes. For the first time, mirrors built to see heat rather than light turn outward, drinking in the faint warmth that starlight leaves behind. What once looked empty now swirls with detail, threads of dust, hidden stars, clouds upon clouds of vapor glimmering in the infrared. The cosmos, long observed in visible tones, begins to reveal its secrets through temperature. The mirrors are so perfect they bend not only light but certainty, forcing the story to be rewritten from the beginning. A planet that earlier appeared bare and calm suddenly glows with haze. Its atmosphere, once thought clear, is now a fog of water vapor spread across invisible bands. What was once described as transparent is now turbulent, full of swirling layers that trap and release heat in rhythms unseen by optical eyes. The instruments read it like a pulse, mapping every breath of warmth into a pattern of colorless fire. The picture does not simplify, it deepens, turning clarity into complexity. Beyond these nearby worlds, the same mirrors catch distant dwarfs, faint and cool, hiding at the edge of stellar definition. Their light, stretched thin by distance, reveals weather made of minerals, silicate storms sweeping through skies where rock grains behave like clouds. These dwarfs mirrors see deeper than any eye before them. The past becomes visible, drawn forward through the curvature of space-time. The narration pauses to reflect. Every image captured is a lie made beautiful. Heat translated into color, distance turned into scale, reality reshaped by the tools meant to measure it. The motif of mirrors emerges, the universe reflecting itself through instruments that mimic its behavior. To observe the cosmos is to watch one mirror bending another. Each discovery folds back upon the act of perception, revealing that observation is never neutral. It changes what is seen simply by looking. The film lingers on the mirrors themselves, each hexagonal face glowing softly in starlight. They float in darkness like petals of a mechanical flower, open and still, their reflections doubling until the screen becomes a hall of endless images. In every reflection, the viewer senses a paradox. The more precisely we observe, the less stable the truth becomes. Then, almost imperceptibly, the tone shifts. Behind the beauty of the data lies a faint unease. The new clarity erases the comfort of ignorance. Worlds once catalogued with certainty now blur into ambiguity. A perfect mirror shows not perfection, but flaws too fine to ignore. As the observatory continues its slow survey, the film's music softens. The camera drifts across its surface, showing sunlight reflecting off the gold panels, the faint warmth of the mirrors themselves visible in infrared. It is not just seeing the universe, it is part of it, radiating back into the same field it studies. Observation becomes participation. The final image is a quiet one, the reflection of a distant galaxy caught in one of the mirrors, distorted and luminous, curving gracefully across the glass. The voice fades with a single thought. Perhaps the universe built eyes for itself, and through them, it now watches its own unfolding dream. The mirrors reveal what sight once missed, yet with every reflection, the mystery doubles. Beyond clarity waits only wonder, and danger disguised as beauty. Grace. The star feeds while the planet endures, locked together in a slow act of consumption that will end only when nothing remains to give. Next, the scene shifts to a dim system where a pulsar spins, its rhythm so precise it could outcount any clock. Around it orbits a companion, smaller than Earth but heavier than imagination allows. Under pressure beyond measure, its carbon has fused into diamond, its crust glinting faintly as it turns through the radiation storm. No air, no sound, no softness. Only a crystalline body orbiting a beacon that would vaporize anything else. It is both precious and dead, a jewel polished by annihilation. Then come the cobalt skies, the world where glass rains sideways. Its winds scream at thousands of kilometers per hour, dragging molten silica into airborne shards that flash as they fall. The ground is hidden beneath rivers of blue fire, the atmosphere tinted by metals turned to vapor. To look upon it is to see weather weaponized, a climate made of blades. Even the light that escapes is fractured by its own violence, scattering into a shimmer that never settles. Beyond it drifts a planet so dark that it reflects less light than charcoal. Seen from afar, it appears as a moving hole in the starfield, a subtraction rather than an object. Its atmosphere absorbs nearly all radiation, glowing only in the faint warmth of its own heat. No dawn or dusk touches its surface. There is only permanent night, where temperatures rise not from sunshine but from the pressure of despair itself. The film strings these images together without commentary, letting their cruelty speak in silence. Lightning flickers across alien skies, stars pulse in deadly rhythm, and gas trails spiral like ghosts of matter undone. This is the parade of inhospitable marvels, spectacles of instability that dominate our imagination not because they are rare, but because they scream loud enough to be found. The narration finally returns, soft but pointed. The Atlas, it explains, does not dwell on these worlds to horrify. It lingers to make a quieter point. What we discover, it drifts a world wrapped in endless water, an ocean planet perhaps, though no name has yet settled upon it. From a distance it gleams softly, its reflection steady and blue-gray, as if serenity were its only feature. Yet beneath that calm lies an alien perfection, a place that boils and freezes correctly. Its skies are swollen with steam, dense and pearlescent, turning sunlight into a permanent twilight glow. From orbit, the planet looks wrapped in cloud, a mirror with no clear edge between ocean and air. The temperature hovers near the threshold where water cannot decide what to be, vapor, liquid, or ice. And so it becomes all three at once. Rain falls, evaporates before it reaches the surface, and begins again. The cycle never ends, an unbroken dialogue between warmth and cold. Below those clouds lies an ocean hundreds of kilometers deep. Pressure there is not measured in atmospheres but in inevitability. At the very bottom, where light and time dissolve, water transforms into exotic ice, crystalline solids formed not from cold but from sheer weight. It is ice that burns if brought to the surface, ice that behaves like stone, holding the planet's core apart from its sea. Between this frozen floor and the upper waters stretches a realm of eternal dusk, where currents move so slowly that a single rotation of flow could take centuries. The film drifts downward through these layers, showing soft gradients of color, turquoise fading into cobalt, then into the velvet black of depth. Flashes of lightning from above reach faintly through the water, illuminating shapes that are not life but motion. Eddies, vortices, chemical ghosts. There is no continent, no shore, no anchor point for geography. Only the ocean, self-contained and whole. If microelements exist here, they are sparse. Iron and phosphorus may have sunk long ago, trapped in the lower ice or dissolved beyond reach. Life, if it dreams of beginning, must adapt to scarcity. It would need to invent a new chemistry, one that values patience over energy, endurance over speed. Reactions would unfold in years rather than seconds. Evolution would crawl through silence, writing its story in the slow movement of ions. Above, the star flickers through the haze, a faint shimmer, concealing the sea below like a secret kept too long. The voice fades with a thought that feels almost human. Perhaps life, when it finally comes, will not race or roar, but whisper. It will exist not because it can, but because it refuses to stop trying. Creation steadies itself, then stirs again. The atlas moves toward places where stars are still forming, where the missing signal might just be learning how to shine. The map shifts again, turning toward a place where stars are still damp from their own creation. Here, in the belly of Orion, light struggles to escape the clouds that birthed it. The air of space itself seems thick, soaked in hydrogen and dust, glowing faintly from within like the embers of a dying fire. But this is no ruin. This is Genesis. The region hums with motion, a storm of beginnings where gravity sculpts chaos into form. Jets of ionized gas lance outward from young suns, carving through the darkness like arrows of fire. Around them spin bright proplids, disks of dust and rock, glowing at their edges as starlight eats away their surfaces. These are solar systems in rehearsal, each one a promise wrapped in turbulence. Some of the jets shoot for light years, narrow and sharp, while others widen into mist, curling back upon themselves. Astronomers call them bullets, and the name fits. They tear through the cloud, leaving glowing trails that fade into the surrounding fog. Winds from massive newborns whip across the region, shaping curtains of gas into folds and hollows. Filaments stretch like veins, each one a channel through which material flows toward new centers of collapse. In these intersections, stars ignite, tiny beacons hidden behind drapes of dust. The observatory's infrared vision pierces the gloom, revealing dozens of points invisible to the naked eye, each one a cradle of heat and potential. The film zooms outward, tracing the architecture of the nursery. Clusters form along arcs and bars, threads of hydrogen connecting them like bridges. Bright zones shimmer with energy, while others remain opaque, their silence concealing entire systems still under construction. Shadows here are not absences, but magnetism, the low pulse of energy folding matter into shape. Everything here is in motion, yet nothing appears rushed. Even chaos obeys a strange order, an instinctive patience that has no need for completion. The narration grows quiet, almost reverent. It reminds the viewer that this is the closest thing the universe has to memory. The same process that once built the sun and the earth is repeating here, again and again, indifferent to who watches. Each new star inherits the debris of those before it, carrying their atoms like hand-me-downs of existence. The fog that conceals these births is both shroud and sanctuary, protecting fragile worlds from the harshness of the cosmos until they are ready to emerge. As the camera pulls back, the entire Orion complex stretches across the frame, a cathedral of light and shadow. The nebula glows at its edges, vast and alive, a reminder that creation is not a moment, but a constant act of becoming. The flicker of the missing signal fades within it, swallowed by the luminous storm. Whether it belongs to a newborn world or merely the echo of one, no one can say. The map adds another mark, a soft, uncertain dot, and moves on, leaving the nursery behind to its slow, magnificent work. But for every birth, there is a slow undoing. The path now leads to an old heart still beating in the fog. Far from the bright youth of Orion, the atlas turns to an elder, C.W. Leonis, a red giant whose long heartbeat fills the surrounding dark with the dust of its own undoing. Once an ordinary star, it has swollen into a trembling sphere of carbon fire, a sun in its final monologue. Each pulse drives matter outward in soft breaths, creating concentric shells of soot and gas that drift like the layers of an aging tree. The heart of the star still burns, but its edges are already dissolving into the material of tomorrow's worlds. Around it hangs a luminous fog, dense and red, a shroud spun from carbon grains small enough to ride the light they reflect. Through this haze, the star flickers rhythmically, expanding and smoke, lit from within by a dull crimson glow. The light pulses, not in steady rhythm, but like a living thing struggling to remember how to breathe. The arcs of ejected matter curve around the star, overlapping like ripples in water, their symmetry broken by unseen motion. Some layers look smooth and circular, others twist, interrupted, as though a hidden mass moves through them, bending the flow. Here, chemistry becomes weather. Molecules form and break apart like clouds in a sky scaled up to stellar proportions. Carbon dust thickens, coagulates, and rains outward, cooling as it travels. Each droplet of soot, each tiny grain carries within it the possibility of future worlds. The process is violent yet tender, a storm made of creation rather than destruction. As the camera pulls back, the red fog becomes a tapestry of light and shadow. The star at its center flickers like a candle seen through smoke, its shape barely discernible, its edges trembling with energy. The narration softens, acknowledging that this is how stars die, not with an explosion, but with generosity. They exhale themselves into the cosmos, atom by atom, until only memory remains. The presence of water adds a final note of wonder. In the breath of this dying star, the simplest molecule of life finds a foothold, surviving where it should not. It lingers in the haze, caught between destruction and rebirth, a reminder that endings in the universe are rarely pure. As the scene fades, the fog thickens until the star disappears entirely. The red light glows through it one last time, dimming and brightening like a slow pulse. The viewer senses that even now, beneath those layers of carbon and steam, the old heart of C.W. Leonis continues to beat, not steadily, but faithfully, breathing its last with quiet grace. And beyond the dying light, there are giants, too hot, too vast, too temporary to last, yet still they burn. At the far edges of what stars can endure, two extremes keep vigil, a rebellion against equilibrium. Its heat is near the practical ceiling for a stellar surface, a temperature so intense that atoms struggle to remain whole. Any nearby planet would be vaporized before completing a single orbit. Even light escaping this inferno seems reluctant, scattering through surrounding gas like sparks in smoke. Astronomers who study it describe not serenity, but exhaustion, as if the star were burning through its lifespan all at once, unwilling to dim gradually. In another region, the film finds the counterpoint, a red supergiant swollen to the edge of comprehension. Its body is a sea of convective cells the size of continents, each one rising and falling in a slow, thunderous rhythm. The star's surface looks soft, almost gentle, but the scale destroys that illusion. From one side to the other stretches a distance so great that a beam of light needs hours to complete the journey. Its gravity is weak at the surface, its boundaries uncertain, its shape constantly shifting like breath against glass. The camera drifts close, revealing glowing eddies moving across the photosphere, bubbles of plasma lifting and collapsing in slow motion. The light flickers not with pulses, but with sighs, each one measured in days. The star has become too large for its own structure to manage. Its outer layers are barely attached, destined to drift away long before the final collapse. Within this gentle disintegration lies the quiet tragedy of scale. Between the two giants, the blue-hot Wolf-Rayet A and the swollen red, lies a truth that humbles every observer. The cosmos does not care for limits. Humans assign boundaries, measure extremes, build leaderboards of wonder. But nature writes no trophies. Temperature, size, brightness, each can stretch until matter itself gives up. And still the universe continues, as if nothing exceptional has occurred. The narration pauses as the atlas's entries scroll across the screen. Beside the data points for both stars, temperatures, radii, luminosities, sits a single note in small, patient text. Not stable. It reads less like a warning thing, but as motion, structure, and memory woven together. The journey begins at its center, where an invisible mass anchors the whirl. Around that dark heart, the bar gleams with densely packed stars, their orbits bent into a glowing spine. It is not stillness but balance, a gravitational truce between collapse and flight. The film drifts outward through the bulge, where ancient suns flicker among rivers of dust. The light here is older than the continents, its color turned amber with age. Beyond it, the spiral arms unwind, grand ribbons of gas and starlight curling through the void. Between them lie rifts and lanes, dark as smoke, where cold hydrogen gathers in silence before the next generation of stars begins. The arms are not solid, not fixed. They are patterns in motion, density waves that travel through the disk like ripples through water. Everything that exists here, every sun, every planet, is both passenger and current. The camera glides farther, passing through faint streams of stars torn from past collisions. They arc like ghosts around the galactic plane, remnants of smaller galaxies consumed long ago. Above and below, the halo shines in scattered pearls, globular clusters that drift like lanterns marking the boundaries of the visible. Beyond them, the light thins into intergalactic night. The Milky Way, so immense in imagination, now looks small against the backdrop of its neighbors. The narration shifts tone, widening the lens. Other galaxies come into view, companions and strangers moving together through space as though bound by invisible ropes. A jellyfish galaxy trails luminous filaments of gas, stripped by pressure as it falls through a cluster. It leaves a glowing wake behind, a body shedding its atmosphere in Nolder. What began as exploration now circles back toward meaning. The final page waits, not as an ending, but as an answer wrapped inside a question. In the final stretch, the atlas leaves behind maps and orbits and turns toward time itself. The film slows, as if even narration hesitates to follow the universe where it is going. Theories unfold, one dissolving into faint radiation until only emptiness remains. These timescales stretch beyond numbers, beyond language, into something that can only be felt as awe. The narrator calls it poetry measured in eons. Matter itself softens in this distant future. Atoms decay, leaving behind particles that drift through the ruins of space. Eventually, even those decay into light, and the light spreads thinner until it forgets what it once illuminated. In this last quiet, there are no suns, no motion, only the residue of everything that once was, the final echo of creation's first breath. And yet, as the story reaches this horizon, something unexpected happens. The film returns to the missing signal, the faint, irregular pulse that haunted every chapter, the one that seemed always just out of reach. It reappears now, not as data, but as realization. The signal was never from a distant star or a lost planet. It was born from the mind itself, from the human urge to find pattern, to stop the endless motion of discovery at the point where comfort begins. The atlas has been chasing its own reflection all along. The camera drifts over the great table where the maps began. Now the table is too small. The maps overflow, rolling across the floor in spirals of ink and light. The fog that once hid the unknown becomes transparent, dissolving into clarity that feels less like knowledge and more like surrender. Rings that once symbolized order now seem fragile, temporary curves in a vast river of change. The mirrors that revealed heat and history now reflect only the observer, silent and humbled. The narration softens until it becomes a murmur, the tone of a confession more than conclusion. The universe, it says, never asked to be solved. Every answer we find depends on where we stand and how we choose to look. The fog, the rings, the mirrors, each was a lesson disguised as mystery. The cosmos was not withholding its truth. It was showing that truth shifts with perspective. The screen fades to a deep gray. For a long moment,